So for our class today, we'll have all of our props available. We may use some of them or all of them. Always have a chair if you like to use a chair for any kind of support, especially if sitting on the floor is uncomfortable. You can do some of the class sitting or switch to the chair at any time. I recommend a blanket, your 2 yoga blocks. We are going to use the ball today, and have your strap available in case you need it. I think that's it. So we'll take, I'm going to invite everyone to get settled, and then let's just take a moment or two for our own personal dedication or prayer. And take a moment as you settle in to this practice to bring to heart and mind the events in your world, in your own personal inner world, and in the external world, and how those relate to each other. Take a moment to acknowledge anything that's happening that you would like to say a prayer about or dedicate some loving energy toward. In the next moment or two, we'll take a moment of quiet for that. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. Let out a sigh. And do that a couple more times. We'll move into a breathing technique or a pranayama called square breathing. Square breathing is balancing for the nervous system, and it's a counting breath. So the thing about counting breaths is you get to be in charge of the pace that you count. It doesn't have to be every second on the second. It could be a quicker count or a slower count. But the key is to keep the count consistent. So it's always the same. Like, think of like a metronome set at a pace that feels good for you. So for square breathing, you can picture a square. So if you're breathing in, let's say for a count of 4, and then you hold for a count of 4 as you draw the top of the square. Then you exhale as you draw down. And then you hold the exhale as you draw that bottom line across. And you just start over. It's just inhaling to a certain count, holding for a count, exhaling for the same count, and then holding the exhale, retaining the exhale for that count. So gentle in through the nose, out through the mouth, or through the nose as well. And make sure there's no tension building up as you do that. If there's some tension building up, maybe you want to change the pace of your count. So we'll start with that. Your hands can rest anywhere on your body if it helps to keep them on your belly and chest or on your lap, whatever works for you. So we'll start with the square breathing for a moment or two. Let's take another round. And when you're complete with that round, if your eyes are closed, you can keep them closed. And let your hands rest somewhere in your body that feels comfortable. So introducing our theme for today in honor of Tu B'Shevat, which just passed. We just missed it for our yoga class. So I'm dedicating this time to Tu B'Shevat and rooting into your own divine spark. So I want to read you this. This is from My Jewish Learning website. I love this website, mujewishlearning.com. It's wonderful. And I like to go there for some inspiration from time to time. So it says, in medieval times, Kabbalists, Jewish mystics, gave Tu B'Shevat great spiritual significance. Seeing in Tu B'Shevat a vehicle for mystical ideas, the Kabbalists imbued Tu B'Shevat with religious significance and created elaborate new symbolic rituals. According to the Lurianic Kabbalah, which is a form of mysticism studied by the students of Isaac Luria, all physical forms, including human beings, hide within them a spark of the divine presence. All physical forms, including human beings, hide within them a spark of the divine presence. This is similar to some kinds of fruits or nuts, which hide within them seeds of new life and potential growth. In Jewish mysticism, human actions can release these sparks and help increase God's presence in the world. On Tu B'Shevat, the Kabbalists would eat certain fruits associated with the land of Israel as a symbolic way of releasing these divine sparks. So there are so many ways to celebrate and honor Tu B'Shevat as Earth Day in Israel, as with seders, with fruits and nuts. There's so many ways to honor that. I thought this would be kind of a nice way to dive into this visual of a piece of fruit, like let's say an apple, and you open it up and you just see all those little seeds. And those are like our own divine sparks, or the seeds that are planted in us. And that when those get planted again, or they drop to the ground, then they create more life, more sparks, more growth. And we're born already with those seeds. We are just like the fruit. We are born with everything we need inside of us to grow into and express our own unique divinity and the way that we share that divinity with the world. So just thinking about in this practice today, how your self-care practices, things like yoga, things like eating well, going for a walk, seeing friends, all those things cultivate the environment for you to tend those seeds and tend those sparks. So we tend the seeds to grow, or if we have a fire, we don't light the fire and then just leave it. We all know we have to, keep tending the fire so that it keeps illuminating, right? So just kind of planting some seeds for you to contemplate as we practice today, and just know that your practice is creating the environment for your seeds to bloom. So we're in honor too of Tu B'Shevat and my love of trees. We're going to focus our bodies really working on creating roots, creating an experience of getting deep into the mat, connecting to the earth beneath us, so that as we create a secure anchor with the lower body, we can be flexible with the upper body. So we'll play with that as well. We're going to start with, from the ground up, from the roots up, we're going to work on our feet. So you're welcome to do this from the chair, or if you're choosing a chair, or you can do it seated on the floor. So if you're on a chair, I'll show you that. If you're on a chair, and you can see me over here, yeah, it's accessible to reach your feet if your hips have that availability there, then you can do that to massage your feet. If that's not quite comfortable, you can use your ball to do some rolling on the bottom of your foot. If you're on the floor, then you can just bring one foot close to you and just start massaging the foot with your thumb and maybe your knuckles. And I do recommend, if you're on the floor, to sit on the edge of your blanket. As we talked about in our last class, you want to sit on the very edge of it so that your pelvis is tilted forward, which is going to keep the rounding out of your lower back. So whatever you choose, we're just going to give some really mindful attention to the bottom of whatever foot you've chosen. You know, I'm actually going to say let's all start with the right foot just for the next thing that's coming. So we're all working on the right foot. When you work on the foot, remember those toes. So think of a tree that has really big roots, and then also has those little smaller roots that are coming out as well, gathering up nourishment. So those toes are really important. So you can stretch them. You can make little circles with each little piggy. I can't tell you how many times that I heard that. It's not a poem. What is it, like a rhyme, a children's rhyme of this little piggy went to market? And now when I think about all the words, I think that just was a disturbing, the piggy went to have roast beef? Like, what is that about? I don't know. I think I even thought that when I was little. Like, what is this about? Oh, maybe some of you have never heard that, so then it just sounds like I'm completely talking nonsense. So now you'll have to look it up. This little piggy went to market. Getting into that arch, you might notice some sore spots. So we're going to also, actually we are going to use our strap. So from your seated position, chair or floor, we're going to bring the strap around try to wiggle that strap up so that it's at the ball of the foot. Might take a little effort there to find that spot without it slipping. So I like to just shimmy the strap back and forth till it's right at the ball of the foot. So the toes, most of the toes should be able to slightly curl over the strap. So now look at your right foot and make sure the ankle is straight so it's not sickling in or pressing more through the big toe, but just really pressing equally through the ball of the foot. And then give a little tension there. And then press your ball of your foot into the strap without letting the foot go anywhere. So we're doing an isometric exercise here. You're activating your calf as you do this and muscles in the ankle and foot. So you're pressing equally through the ball of the foot for 3, 2, 1, and then release back. Just give the strap a little pull toward you and stretch the calf. And then again, from wherever you're starting, just start to press into the strap. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release that activation and use the strap to pull your toes toward your nose, right? Feeling a stretch through the calf. And then notice that your shoulders, if they're rounded, make sure that you're pulling them back and down so your chest is nice and open. Let's do one more isometric exercise here. So pressing into the strap. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then give it a little stretch. And now start to shimmy that strap to the middle of your foot, where it usually is when we're laying on our back. And just let your strap be a little guide as you make circles with your ankle. Nice big circles. Pressing your foot into the strap as you go around and around. Go both directions. Good. And then you can let the strap go. And we did this a while ago, maybe a couple months ago. You can do this from a chair as well if you would like to. We're going to work on a meridian point, an acupressure point that helps to stimulate energy for if you're feeling a little lethargic or tired, which is natural this time of year, and especially right now. So to find it, you're just going to put your right hand on your knee and feel the knee bone, and then drop your hand down and to the right, to the outer part of your knee, and under the kneecap there's another bone, it's pretty noticeable, kind of sticking out. Drop your fingers under that bone and then in toward your shin. And there's this little soft spot right in there. And you can you can use both hands. I like to use both hands or firm fingertips and just do some really vigorous deep circles there. If you aren't exactly sure, then just work that area under the side bump on your knee, just all that area underneath toward the shin bone. And sometimes it can be a little sore. And this can help to create a little spurt of energy. Good. Okay, and then just use your hand and give a nice broad rub. Good, and then we'll come over to the left foot. So from wherever you are, choosing how you want to do your foot massage. Notice, just give gratitude to your feet. Notice all the details of your foot. Notice the temperature of the skin, the lines and wrinkles, the color. Give attention to the toes, help them move individually by using your hands to help guide them open and in circles. And of course, if you're in the chair, or if you prefer, you can always put the weight of your foot on the ball and just do some gentle massage that way. We've got some good reflex points inside the ankles as well. I didn't mention that on the other side, but you can always work up into the inner ankle, outer ankle. Okay, and then we'll take the strap again, extending that left leg, and just bring the strap around the ball of the foot. Leg is straight, pressing equally through the big toe mound and the little toe mound. And once you feel like you've got a nice straight ankle there, and you pull the strap toward you so that you're stretching the calf a bit already, and then start to press into the strap, and isometric exercise here. So don't let the strap go anywhere, don't let the foot go down. Activating the calf and the ankles, and then release, pull your foot toward you a bit, and then press again for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a breath. Last time, press into the strap. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, And release. Give yourself a little stretch here. And then you can slide that, shimmy the strap down if that works better for you. It works better for me. And then just do some circles. And the strap really is just giving some feedback as you move in one direction and then the other. Good. Okay, we can set the strap off to the side, and then we'll do our acupressure point on this side. It's the same thing, same idea. You're just moving your fingers to the left, to the outer edge of your knee. So knee, drop down, find that little, it's like an extra knee bone, kind of feels like. And then drop down below that, and then inward toward the shin. And just do some vigorous circles. Usually when you're looking for an acupressure point, you're not sure if it's so, you find a sore spot, like you know that you're pretty close to it. That can be the case. Good, and then just nice broad brushing of the tissue here with your palm. Good. So we're going to do something called the knee down twist now to open up the hips. And you can do this from a chair as well. I'm going to show you in the chair first. So on the chair, you're sitting on the edge of the chair, hands are on the side, and you're just letting the knees drop to one side. You're doing this from the floor as well. Drop to the other side. It helps to stay on your toes if you're in a chair. And we're focusing on the internal rotation of the femur or the thigh bone, turning inward and then out as the other one turns in. And just notice how that feels, the range of motion that you have. If you're on the floor, your feet are out in front of you and you're leaning back. And there's no rush to this at all, just noticing. We're just noticing. So this movement will stimulate some synovial fluid to produce in the hip joint. Good. And then from the floor, we'll take Badakanasana. In a chair, you're still sitting on the edge of your seat and your knees are really wide, and you're going to use your arms to just press your knees open. We're working on inner thighs here. So from the floor, if you're on the floor, again, sitting on the edge of a blanket's helpful. Feet are together and drawn close to you, as close as you want. And they can either just lay open, using gravity to pull the legs down, or if that feels too intense, you can put blocks under your knees at any level, which is kind of nice. Sitting up nice and tall, drawing the navel in, no matter where you're sitting, drawing the navel in, and focusing on the opening of the inner thighs. And then hinging forward at that hip crease, coming forward just to enhance that inner thigh stretch to wherever you feel a stretch and whatever feels good for you. Nice big belly breaths. So even though you're engaging the core, when you take an inhale, really let it fill, let the belly fill. And as you exhale, draw the navel in. If you're on the floor, and you can try this from a chair, if you're on the floor, you might let your chin start to move towards your chest and let your head go. Allow just a little bit of rounding to happen in the back. Breathe into the back of the body. And then come back up. We are going to make our way to hands and knees. So we probably won't need our blanket for that unless your knees are a little bit sensitive and you want some extra support under those knees. So cat and cow. So we want those wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Now before we just start going into cat and cow, let's really bring some awareness to the grounding aspect of this. So with your hands, or if you're on knuckles for wrist issues, either way, you're really going to feel all the parts of your hands that are touching your mat. Really, if you're using your hands, if they're flat, think of cupping the hands just a little bit and curling the upper finger joints so that it's almost like little cat paws, you know, just kind of gripping. If you're on knuckles, you're just going to really feel the knuckles, all parts of the knuckles connecting to the mat. And then feel your knees, and then lift your feet and just tap the top of your feet on your mat. And then when you let your feet come down, really feel the top of your feet connecting to the mat and your shins. So these are your roots right now. We're in this position where this is your roots. And from here, from this secure place, securely anchored, we'll start to practice this flexibility by growing the spine, rounding the spine. Inhaling as we arch at whatever pace works for you today. Maybe side bending a bit. Letting those hips shift from side to side so you get a little outer hip stretch. Whatever feels good. Just let your spine explore whatever can move while the roots remain stable and secure. We're going to walk those hands forward. You can come onto your forearms and with your belly engaged to start to place your front of your body on your mat for Cobra Pose. So bring those hands close to your rib cage, a little lower than you might imagine. Palms are near the middle of the rib cage. Shoulders slide down your back. And just rock from side to side till you can just really start to feel the front of the body really connecting with the mat. Tops of your feet. Pull the belly in and tuck your tailbone underneath you. So you're just shooting a root down from the pubic bone. And then start to lift the upper body with your neck long and draw those elbows into the rib cage. So really fire up the muscles between your shoulder blades. Your glutes are going to be active here too. The legs are active, but the feet are on the floor. Breathing here, and then lower down. We'll do that again. Firm up the legs, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Draw the belly in, start to lift up. Slide your shoulders down your back, glue your elbows to your ribs. Breathe here. You might even try to hover your hands off of the mat, and then you know you're using those beautiful spinal muscles to lift you up, and then lower down. Good. Bring your hands under your forehead and bend your knees and just release your back, rocking from side to side with those feet. And then we're going to turn onto our side. So I'd like you to lay on your left side and have a block with you or a blanket so you can support your head and curl up into a little field position just to release your lower back from the cobra. Just give yourself a little breather here. You can always use just your hand too if you want to lay your head on your arm, your bent arm. We're going to activate the hip muscles here. So be cautious if you have any issues happening with the lower back or glutes. You just be gentle, make the movement small, listen to your body. We're going to make sure that our back of our body is lined up with the side of the mat. And then the feet are the legs are gonna come out in front. So back is lined up with the mat, feet are out in front just to give you a sense of balance so you're not like flopping back and forth. So I'm gonna prop my head up this way so I can see you guys better. So the feet are stacked, hips are stacked. You're gonna lift your right leg up and then extend the right leg as if someone gently gave it a little gentle pull. Now you could stay just like this is strengthening, or you could lift and lower, nice and slow. Lift and lower. Keep your belly pulled in. Lift and lower. If you want to take a faster pace, you can. It's your practice, so do what works for you today. You can lift and then turn your foot inward. Ooh, that activates other parts of your glute. And then do little circles. I like to use my other hand, my top hand, to help stabilize. So nothing's moving really except for that leg. And then your buns are probably on fire by about right now. Good. And release. Bend that top knee and bring it close to you. Good. And then just take your knuckles and just do a little friction with your palm and just give a little release to that right glute. And then keep that top leg where it is and just start to lift the lower leg up. So activating those adductors, the inner thighs, and lower down. Pull the belly in, lift and lower. Keep the foot flexed. We're going to do about 10 of these. You go as high as you can, like you're lifting a ball or lifting something to the ceiling, and then lower. Lift it until you feel it really activating. Good. And release. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side. So you're going to lay on the right side. Stacking hips and ankles and feet. Lift the left leg now. Release it out so it almost feels like it's longer than the bottom leg. And then start to lift and lower. And you might find that one leg feels it's a lot easier and the other leg feels like you're lifting lead weights. That's normal. This is a great exercise for noticing where we might have some weakness that we can work with. If you're lifting really high, make sure that you're not opening up the hip and flopping around. So everything needs to be really securely rooted. Good. So that we can explore that flexibility of the leg. Okay, turn the leg in if you haven't already and just start to draw some circles. This one gets me every time. If it starts to burn, then start to smile. Ooh. There's sirens. They know that my butt's on fire. Okay. Good. Lower that leg down. Bend that top knee. Bring it in close to your body. And do some knuckles or soft fists into that glute area. Give it a little release and some love here. Keeping that top leg where it is, you'll re-engage your core and start to lift your lower leg up and down. Getting into those. These are core muscles. So these inner thighs are part of your intrinsic core. I like to exhale when I'm lifting, when I'm not talking. Just waking these muscles up. And last couple. And release. Good. We're going to just come on up And we're going to stand. Take your time. And now that once you're standing, just do whatever you need to release your hips or your back. We'll go through a couple of forward folds. So you can have blocks handy and or chair. So the reason the chair is here for a forward fold is that sometimes when we have lower back pain or chronic issues with the lower back, coming all the way down and then coming back up can feel like a lot on the back, even when we're doing it properly. So if you are in that field right now, or you're in that camp of lower back sensitivity, when you come down into your forward fold, you have a place to land, the seat of the chair. You can come halfway down, and you can let your head rest, but you're not putting weight on the lower back. So that's an option always here for you. That same thing with the blocks. So just always having those nearby. So let's stand with the feet hip width apart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward to wherever you're going to land, whatever works for you. Release what you can. Take some breaths. If you can release your head, if that works for your position, go ahead and do that. Good. Start to look up and press into those feet and reach the arms out to the side and up. And hands to your heart. Maybe close the eyes or have a soft gaze out in front of you, and just take a moment to feel yourself standing where you are. Your roots growing into the ground, into the mat. Take a moment to feel yourself as a divine spark, or even as a seed in a fruit. And name the quality of the seed or the sparks that you carry. Is it love? Is it courage? Name your seeds, name your sparks. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward one more time. And then inhale, slide your hands up. Come up with a flat back. Reach your arms out. Up and to the heart. Let's support our immune systems, doing our 3 thumps, tapping under the collarbones. Keep your knees soft. And the center of the chest, let out a nice big ah. Good, let's knock on the ribs. Shake out your arms. From the standing position, you can open your legs a little wider and just do a standing twist. Nice, loose upper body. Good. Come to stillness. We're going to bring the legs out nice and wide with the toes pointed to 10 and 2 on a clock face. So they're just out about, 45 degrees. Bend the knees, however deep you want to bend them. We're going to bring those arms up overhead and take a big breath in through the nose. And then bring those, bring those elbows close to your rib cage. So you're drawing in life force heat. You're drawing that life force in from all around you. You're bringing it in. Any pace you want. Last one. Good. You can keep your legs wide because we're going to be going somewhere with this. Just notice how you feel. We've really opened up the inner thighs. We're going to do triangle pose leading into tree pose. So I'm going to start with my right leg is my lead leg, and my chair is on the right side. So the legs are really wide, so I do want to have you really widen those legs as if you were going to come into a forward fold. You want to make sure your blocks are nearby in case you're not using a chair. Legs are wide, but now you're going to turn your right toes to the top of your mat so they're facing straight in front of you. Turn your back leg in, that internal rotation we did earlier with those knee down twists. So you want to squeeze your quad. So I tend to hyperextend my knee, and I know that a lot of people do. So if you do kind of lock your knee out, which isn't good for you, you're going to come into your triangle pose with a tiny, tiny bend, which takes a lot of control. Tiny bend in the knee. Bring your arms out to the side. Good. And then start to reach over those right toes. And then either you're going to find the chair for support or a block on the outer side of your front leg. And really activate the quadricep, the thigh on the right side, and reach up. Pull the belly in. Press your hips forward. Feeling securely anchored in your mat, in the earth, and then finding this flexibility, this movement in the upper body. Start to bend the front leg, the front knee, and rise up. You're going to go right through warrior two and into reverse warrior. Keep that front knee bent. Stretch the rib cage. Bring some breath into the side body. Good, and then come floating the arms back, hands to your heart. Okay, we're going to step the feet together and take tree pose on this side. So the left leg's going to be standing, and the right foot is going to come up somewhere that feels right for you today. If you want more anchoring, you can keep your foot on the floor. Your toes are just on the floor, or you can do calf. Or you can do inner thigh. Whatever works for you today. So focusing on the base of the body, growing into the earth. What do your branches want to do today? Do you want to keep them close? Do you want to reach them out? What expression of tree is in you today? Gazing at something that's not moving. It's okay to wobble. It's okay to fall out of it. If you fall out of it, just come back into it. Good. Release gently from this side. Do some shoulder circles, shake out your body, whatever you need to do. We're going to come to the other side, so I'm moving my chair. Okay. So wide stance, as if you're going to fold forward. Wide stance. And then once you get nice and wide, then turn the left toes to the top of your mat. Turn your back leg inward a bit. Make sure your foot's connected to the mat. Your outer edge isn't flipping up. Pull the belly in, open up those arms, squeeze your quad, but keep a little bend in that knee if you need it, and start to slide, reach over the toes, and then find your triangle pose. Right arm comes up, left hand or arm's going to come anywhere that you need. So with the chair, if you're close to the chair, you could even come to maybe a forearm or keep it high. Press your hips forward, pull your core in. You're really working your abdominal muscles right now. Bend the front knee so that you can press into that foot. Float your arms up and then drop into reverse warrior. So bend the front knee now. Reach with your left fingertips back and behind you. And float your hands back. Good. Go ahead and step your feet together. We'll take tree on this side. Your right leg is your standing leg. Choose where your left foot's going to land. While you're getting into tree, I have a little thing to read. Yay, you get to stay balanced while I read this little thing. Getting to the root of the tree of life. Why is the Torah described as a tree of life? Because it is so deeply rooted. Because it draws sustenance from both the earth below and from the heavens above. Because every leaf of every tree is different, just as the Jewish community is diverse and yet part of a unified being. Because it provides shelter and nourishment to human beings and other creatures. You can come out of your tree if you're getting tired and take a forward fold. Because when one explores it carefully, all kinds of treasures are found. Because in order to survive, it must be both securely anchored and able to be flexible. Because for as long as it lives, it grows, adding layer upon layer. So that's us, right? We grow, we add layer upon layer of wisdom, of experience, as we meet all of the edges of life. If you're in a forward fold, you can come on up and you can move your chair to a place that you might use it for Shavasana. We're going to come to our backs for a little hip flexor opener, and if you like pigeon pose, you can take pigeon. Come onto your back. Otherwise, knees bent. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. This might be enough for some of you, or you can draw that left foot off the floor and hold the back of the leg. So we did a lot of work with using the glutes, and this is a nice little release for all that work. Release your figure 4 stretch. And change sides. Notice if there's anything in the body that could be softer or more flexible, while you're anchoring into the hips, anchoring into your mat with your back, or whatever part of your body is touching the mat. Go ahead and release this side and take the last couple of minutes to do whatever your body needs. I do recommend some kind of a twist, a final twist, any other things that your body might need to prepare you to rest in Shavasana. Really notice the shift in energy in your body from when you began your practice. Let the large muscles of your body soften into gravity. Become aware of your bones. This incredible skeleton that takes you from here to there. You can even try to focus on the temperature of your skin and the circulation moving through your body. Perhaps the beating of your heart, moving blood throughout the body. Feeling the wind of your breath moving through your nose. All of these elements of your body very much like the earth around you, the natural world. Deep peace in the lotus of my heart, deep peace in the space of my mind, deep peace in the earth of my bones, deep peace in the rivers of my blood, deep peace in the wind of my breath, deep peace in the belly of my being, deep peace in every part of me, as I rest within one divinity. Deep peace in the lotus of my heart, deep peace in the space of my mind, deep peace in the earth of my bones, deep peace in the rivers of my blood, deep peace in the wind of my breath, deep peace in the belly of my being, deep peace in every part of me, as I rest within one divinity, one divinity. Deep peace, deep peace. Find deep peace in your roots. Find peace in your divine spark. Take another moment to acknowledge those seeds, those sparks in you that are yours, that are your blueprint of divinity in this world. And when you're ready, take your time, gently rolling to your side if you aren't already seated. And just let yourself float up, just grow up like a sprout from the earth. Letting your hands rest in prayer at your heart. And we'll close with our universal blessing for all. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be loved. May all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shalom.